Hey guys, this video is called The Danger of Thinking All the Time, all right? The danger of too much thinking. And I wanted to start with a quote from Ego is the Enemy because, and this is a quote from Alan Watts. I know at least one of my subscribers loves Alan Watts. You know who you are. So comment if you love Alan Watts. But this is about getting out of your own head, and I wanted to share with some of the dangers of, from what I've seen in my personal life, and just objective things that I know that I've learned specifically from this chapter, okay? So a person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts, so he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts, so he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. And I would even change that word at the end, lives in a world of delusions, okay? So we can think and think and think and think and think, but ultimately you're just thinking about thoughts. Ultimately, your thoughts are a fantasy realm. It's a fantasy realm. It only lives inside your head. So you are literally, you're in this 3D world, and instead of looking out at the world, you are like living like this. Like, okay, so I'm in this 3D world, but I'm just gonna live in my own head. I don't want to know what the world is like. I'm just gonna live in what I think is real, okay? So that's just kind of a way that I was just thinking about that, okay? So what happens is, I've seen this plenty of times. We have a thought that we believe is true, and that thought is not true. Hey, raise your hand right now if you've had a thought that was not true. Raise your hand right now. All right? Now, I'm laughing at you because you raised your hand by yourself at home. All right? You looked really stupid doing that. All right? Let's have some fun on this channel. Okay? So, what happens is we're living with these thoughts that may or may not be true. Maybe it is true, maybe it's not true, but does it really matter to ruminate on these things? Now, we have a brain. We should be a free thinker, and it is good to think about things. You were created with a brain, and you should be pondering things, and you should be learning, and you should be thinking through things, okay? But what happens is we get too far into that. There's like a spectrum to everything, right? There's a spectrum. There's thinking too much and thinking too little. And we want to be right in the middle where I do something, I think about it. I do something, I think about it. I do something, I think about it, okay? Well, if I just think and think and think and think, I am not living in the real world, okay? And I'll give you an example. I've seen this video, or I've seen this pop up on Facebook. This is just the best example that I can have to explain this concept to you. And I also want a quick touch on the internet. If we live on the internet, we lose touch in reality as well. A person who lives on the internet all the time loses touch with reality and therefore lives in a world full of delusions. A person who lives on the internet all the time loses touch with reality and lives in a world full of delusions. That is a quote from Knowledgeable Nick. I'm coining that phrase. You have to pay me to say that. All right? So anyways, I'm going to give you this example just because I've seen this and I wanted to share this with you. Just to give you an example, okay? This has popped up multiple times. It is somebody talking about how much degeneracy there is specifically in female behavior, okay? I'm not claiming this to be true. I'm just using this as an example, okay? Basically, on the internet, somebody had a bad experience with a female, and they start saying a lot of things like, all women are whores, they are all cheaters, you can't trust them, it's better to stay single, they're just liars and manipulators, They sleep with hundreds of guys, stuff like that, okay? So somebody had a bad experience, and now all these people that are buying into that experience are living in a world of delusions. So in my life, I've had good experiences with women. I've also had bad experiences with women. But I live in the real world. I don't live on the internet. So if I lived on the internet, if I never talked to any women, here's another thing. Women are not loyal. They're only loyal to their emotions. They'll never be loyal to you. They're only in it for the money. There's all these things that they'll say, okay? Let's come from a state of reality. There are women that exist that are like that. I think we can all agree that that exists, okay? But what happens is when we live on the internet, we start thinking that all women are like that because we're not interacting with real people in the real world. Now we are living on the internet and we're living in our head, but we're not living in the real world. On the internet, in our head, not the real world, okay? So what happens is now we have all these negative emotions and we're not doing anything good with our lives. We're just on the internet. Yeah, women are whores, you know? I hate women. Stuff like that, okay? Not only are you living in a delusion, you're living in a bad delusion. All right? On the other side of the spectrum, we could believe that love is a fairy tale. Love is a fairy tale. You're going to be happily ever after. You're going to find the one, and it's just going to be magical, and it's going to be perfect. They're always going to make you laugh. So both of those are delusions that just are not real, okay? Now, what happens is when we start interacting in the real world with real people, we start to realize that both of those things are not true, okay? Women are not perfect angels, and women are also not all just degenerate manipulators, okay? Women are human beings just like men are, and there are good characteristics that they have and bad characteristics that they have. Just as much as I have those characteristics, I have some good things about me. I have some bad things about me. And being with me is not a fairy tale, but it's also not super hyper toxic, okay? I have toxic traits occasionally, and maybe there's some ladies on the internet saying I'm a narcissist. Who knows? Who knows? Because we all have narcissistic traits. But the reality is that once we get out of the internet and out of our head and start interacting with someone, we realize that the real world is different than what we thought, okay? I've had plenty of times where I've had a thought about someone. Maybe it was a good thought, maybe it was a negative thought. And as I got to know them on a personal level and chose to interact and just, hey, let me get to know this person, all the thoughts that I've had about them are just not true. I've also had jobs. I've maybe had a job that I want to try. I have all these thoughts, man, it's going to be like this and that. It's going to be awesome. I get there, the job sucks, okay? So when we get out of our head and start doing, we get to see things for what they really are. And that's what I encourage. I encourage you to live in the real world. I want you to live in the real world and have real experiences. Be here now. Be present in the moment. Get to know people. Try new things. Things could be better. To see, it's like a fun, it's like a game. I want to gamify this because life is fun. If you're not having fun now, you're never going to have fun. You have to choose to have fun and have a good time now. All right? I want to try YouTube, okay? I'll give you an example. I want to try YouTube. I'm in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to be so famous. Oh my God, I'm going to have millions of followers in the first couple months. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's going to like me. I'm going to be making bank. And then I've also had the thought, everyone's going to hate me. They're going to judge me, put hate comments. I'm going to get roasted. No one's going to watch my channel. all these negative thoughts. So I've had good and negative thoughts, but the only way I can find out what the reality of YouTube is if I actually go in and try it. And you know what? I've had genuine human connections on YouTube that I never expected to meet or never even thought of could be possible. And so thank you for you guys who comment on my videos, because I enjoy the genuine human connection of you sharing your thoughts with me. And some of you are making videos yourselves, and I occasionally will pop in and take a look at some of the things that you're posting, and I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you're figuring out, I'm glad you're living in the YouTube moment and you're experiencing what it's really like to be on here. And I encourage you to just stop thinking about what do I think and get to know me. When you watch my videos, you're getting to know me. When you listen to an artist's music, you're getting to know them. You don't have to live in your own thoughts. Like, the more assumptions we make about something, the worse it is, okay? I can't say hi to a stranger because they hate me. They don't want me to talk to them, you know? How could you possibly know? See, we're living in a world of illusions until I actually take a step. God doesn't want me to do that. God would never want me to have money. How do you know until you actually tried? Maybe God does. How do you know? There's no way to possibly know until you try it and see what the result is. So I want to encourage everyone here to try something new, stop living in your head, and to try something, and to see what the result is. You know what? Maybe you like somebody. Maybe you're attracted to somebody. You want to have a relationship with them. Okay. Well, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to see, man, maybe they're a cool person. Maybe they're a shitty person. But how do you know what it's going to be? I saw this at work. There was this sign that I had to stock, and it said, "What if I fall? What if I fall?" And then it said at the bottom, "But honey, what if you fly?" You don't know. It's like a fun game. It's like random reward dopamine gambling. Random reward dopamine gambling. You don't know when you hit the slot machine, you don't know if you're going to win big. All right? When I want you to live that way in real life, okay? Well, I want to connect with this person. I want to try that job. It's like I'm hitting the slot machine. Dude, what if this job hits big? What if it doesn't work out? The only way I'm going to find out is to hit the button. Okay? I want you to do something with your life. Have fun. Go try something. You know what? Sometimes things don't work out, and that's okay. It's okay to have a bad experience, okay? Well, you know what? That was, I didn't really like that experience. Now, I want to just preface this, okay? We need to have boundaries in life. I do not think you should try anything super crazy like driving 200 in your car, all right? Or jumping out of a plane with no parachute. I want you to have a little bit of thought behind these things. You should have a healthy level of understanding before you do something. So in no way am I encouraging you to just do and not think, but I want you to stop thinking and start doing. Okay? Stop thinking and start doing. Have a wonderful day, guys. Watch my channels. Hit the bell icon and go do something with your life. Have a wonderful day.